Listen, listen. That's what we're talking about on this morning. Good morning, everybody. How was everybody on this morning? Hope you had a great weekend. I certainly did. Went home to be with my family for family reunion, and man, it was just so good. It was really so good that I enjoyed it. And now I'm back in the saddle again, of course, back in the saddle again and just enjoying this time with you. And on this morning, now I got some morning manna, but of course, I've got to ask you, what do you think of this? I mean, there's news almost every other day. I mean, all kind of news like we have never seen before. What do you think of the whole thing with Kamala and the president stepping down from running for election? Let me know what you think, but that's not what I'm going to talk about. I'll pick that subject up a little bit later. This morning, I want to deal with listen. Listen, listen. What that's what I want to say. Just listen for a minute and get back to that and just share that word with you on this morning. Listen, you've heard that so many times when people want to get your attention. It's kind of like a colloquialism. It's kind of like a phrase when really the conversation is getting good and somebody just really needs to press in and get their point across. They will say what? Listen, listen. I mean, that's what we want to talk about this morning, but a whole different kind of way, looking at it through the lens of God on this morning and the lens of His Word. Let me greet some people and then get into the Word on this morning. Good morning, Elder Sherry. How are you? Good morning, Ella. How are you? Joy, how are you? Brother Nesbitt, how are you? Dawn, how are you? Elder Mobley, how are you? Minister Sent, how are you doing on this morning? Pamela, how are you on this morning? Brother Pope, how are you? Just left North Carolina. That's God's country. I certainly enjoyed myself there. You already know. Good morning, April. How are you on this morning? Elder Dyer, how are you on this morning? I got a word for you guys on this morning. Gerald, how are you on this morning? How is the fam? How is everybody? Elder Mobley, how are you on this morning? Ramona, how are you guys doing on this morning? Oh, what a great morning it is. Gilliard, how are you on this morning? Erica, what is everything like around the neighborhood and New Life? I hope you are spreading out those door knockers so that people can come to our block party on this coming weekend, on this coming Sunday. That's right. That's what it's going to be, a wonderful time. Good morning, Elder Jan. How are you? Diane, how are you? All right. Executive Pastor Shari White. How are you on this morning? Verena, how are you on this morning? Carolyn, how are you on this morning? Pastor Richard, lifting you up in prayer, of course, on this morning. Jewel, how are you on this morning? Look, before I get into it this morning, listen, listen. That's what we're talking about on this morning. Listen, just one word. It's that word that people use when the conversation is flowing and it is getting good or what have you, and somebody has to break in with something that they believe that it is most instrumental in furthering the discussion. Listen, listen. But before we get into that, I just simply want to know, what do you think of the whole piece about uh, Biden stepping back and Kamala stepping forward? What do you think? Put it in the chat area. Then we're going to get right into the word on this morning. I'm with Kamala. I know that. I'm already. That's what I'm with. I would have voted for Biden had he been on a respirator. But nevertheless, it's shifted, it's changed, and here we are. Here we are. Lydia, how are you on this morning? Jacqueline, how are you on this morning? Let's get into the word on this morning, Patrice. Listen, listen. That's what we're going to talk about. The text to talk, the takeaway, 5 minutes. So let's get right into the word. Here it is. It's John 10:27. John 10:27. We're talking about, how do I hear the voice of God? How do I hear the voice of God? The distinction of his voice. How do I hear it? Here we go. John 10:27. My sheep listen to my voice. I know them and they follow me. My sheep listen to my voice. Listen. I know them and they follow me. A shepherd, they are said, in the Palestinian area, that will name every sheep, no matter how large the flock, A good shepherd, and he distinguishes it in this particular text, will name each sheep and give them a name and know them by name. Tasha Cobb says he knows my name. Isaiah said he wrote my name in the palm of his hand. Therefore, when he calls my name, when he calls me, I listen, I know his voice, and I follow. How do I do that, though, Bishop? How do I do that when I'm perplexed, when I'm between two opinions, when I'm not certain? Here are three things, at least three things I want to just share with you with respect to how do I listen to and know the voice of God. Number one is get in a familiar position. Get in a familiar position. What do I mean by that? In Psalms 46:10, it says, "Be still and know that I am God." Get in a place where you can can just be still and you know from times past how God speaks to you. God does not speak to everybody the same way, though he says similar things. What do you mean by that? What I mean is, God has a unique way by which He speaks to you, whether it is by dreams, whether it is strictly by the word, whether it is a prophetic thing. I'm going to give you more to back all of this up here in a moment. However, that is, there is a familiar way in which God speaks to you, and you will not hear His voice with clarity until you, Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I am God. Here is the second thing. Here's the second thing. When you're still and you hear in the familiar way that he speaks to you, grounded in the word, grounded in the word. Psalms 119:11 says this, "Thy word have I hid in my heart that I might not sin against thee." You got to know his word. Psalms 119:105 says this, his word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my pathway. So when I get in position that I can hear him, then I ground what I hear in the word. Here's the third thing. Here's the third thing. Don't get in a hurry because he's calling you forward. If God is saying, "Come," as he does in Matthew 14:29, he tells Peter, when Peter was wondering, "Oh my God, is that him? Is that the Lord speaking in the midst of this storm?" And then Peter says, "If it is you, Lord, bid me to come." Here's the revelation. Here's the revelation. If he tells you to come, he's already where you are going to. He is inviting you where he is. So many times you're wondering, "Well, oh my God, whether this is going to work, whether that," if he says come, he's already there. He's saying, "Come here." So you don't have to worry about the storm in which that rages around you because he's already there. Now, here's the additional revelation to that. Notice that when Peter gets out on the water and walks, we don't know how long he walks. It sounds as if it is not a very long walk. And the reason we know that it is not a long walk is because when he sinks, Jesus gets him and then they get into the boat. It could not be but a few feet. Could not have been but a few feet. But it always seems like a long distance when we're not sure of his voice. Listen, listen. What's your takeaway this morning? Here's your takeaway. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Son of Man is saying. He that has an ear, let him hear what God is saying. The Lord be with you today. May his face shine upon you and give you peace. Share this, man. If it bless you, bless somebody else. Don't keep it to yourself. And listen. Listen. I'll see you tomorrow morning with more Morning Manna. God bless you.